Hi, I'm Fred, and welcome back to Vlogmas 2020. Today's topic is Christmas songs that tickle your funny bone. But first, a beer. This one is even more Coco Jesus, which I was kind of surprised to learn it's Coco without the A because it's coconut. Brewed with maple syrup and coconut extract added. That doesn't sound nearly as good. I mean, I don't like necessarily chocolate, and I certainly don't want it to be mocha. I don't like coffee. I'm going to try to pour it nice and slow so I can actually sip it sometime this century. It smells like a stout. Oh, yeah. It's still based on the same imperial stout as last night. Also, when I added last night's beer to Untapped, it looks like I have had one of the Jesus ones before from Evil Twin Brewing. In January. Had no idea. It was in there, though. There we go. Finish it a little bit there. A little bit fast. See what happens when you do things properly. Or at least more properly than you used to. It's almost exactly like the Even More Jesus with a hint of coconut. I don't get the maple at all. The coconut's actually kind of pleasant. I will say that it took me a long time to finish last night's. It's got a healthy ABV and it just kept being a little too bitter. But it got better as, you know, my tongue got numbed out. So, today's topic. That is actually the name of an album that I grew up with and is available for purchase on Amazon as a CD. Or maybe just Amazon Music. Maybe both. I might have gotten the music free when I bought the CD. I definitely bought it. It's got an extra song compared to the LP I grew up with. Yeah, I said record, album M. As they said in Grease 2, you need to watch Grease 2. There was a selection of albums, Christmas albums I grew up with that were, I don't know, 7 or 8 of them. And they had, you know, all the classics. This one obviously had a lot more silly ones on there, which, once again, highly recommend. But those versions of the songs, I mean, those are the ones I grew up with, so those are the ones I prefer. And some other ones are okay, and some of them I still like. I just still prefer the ones I grew up with, even though they may not be musically the best versions. One of the ones I really wish I could find the version on digitally was Little Drummer Boy. The version I grew up with just, I don't know. It tried to do too much with like kids' voices, and I don't know if they're actual kids or if they were women pretending to be kids because, you know, these were made probably in the 60s or 70s, and that kind of thing still happens today with more traditional animated fare, I should say. So no, it's probably not the best version, but I really like it. Some of the albums I grew up with were like essentially the Christmas kids bops. They were the standard fare, that the Christmas classics, which those are the only two I can remember. Santa Claus is Coming to Town. No, that was I can't remember the rock and roll version of that one now. A lot of the songs that you hear on the Christmas radio stations, if you listen to them, or pretty much any retail establishment, I really feel bad for the people who have to work there. I love Christmas music. I don't want to be forced to listen to it all the time. And I don't want to be forced to listen to it at work. I may choose to listen to it at work. I don't want to be forced to. But anyway, a lot of these songs some of them are sung by kids, some of them are just sung by, you know, studio musicians and singers they just put together. Is it open domain? I want to feel like that's not correct. Public domain. We have public domain music. Anyone could throw a group together and put out an album fairly cheaply, and they did, and still are. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Speaking of listening to Christmas music, in the past, there is a station that's local that is usually light jazz, then switched to country for a while, and I think it's back to soft rock. Plays Christmas music. I'm not sure when they start. For me, Christmas runs from Thanksgiving to New Year's. I put my tree up on Thanksgiving. I take it down on New Year's. That is how I grew up. That is my tradition. This year, my wife wanted to put it up early, and I said, "No, I don't want to do it this early." She said, "But Thanksgiving is so long away." And then she realized it was less than a week away, and so it was fine. The reason I do that is because I know I have those days off. I think I have New Year's off. Do I have New Year's Eve or New Year's off? It's got to be New Year's, right? Because everyone's always drinking. Except for me, usually I go to bed around 9 or 10. So at night I'm always tired. Anyway, that's my Christmas season. I would turn into the station in the car, and that would be every time I drove somewhere. I drive to work, drive back, whatever store, that's what it would play. For whatever reason, can't imagine what, please tell. I haven't been driving a lot since March. And so I've been listening to radio. And things change. I mean, even when I'm just running to the store, typically I put on a podcast. Sometimes I'll listen to Pandora. It depends. So I'm not in the car long enough, essentially, to deal with commercial radio in any form. That's what it is. Even during the before times, as it were, I started listening to NPR specifically because they don't have commercials. Yeah, they've got their sponsorships before and after the hour of the shows, and they've got their pledge drives, which can be annoying, but mostly, it don't really bother me. They don't have the commercial breaks every 5 minutes, every 2 or 3 songs, which is exactly how commercial radio has been forever. And by forever, I mean since I've been an adult. It feels like as a kid, it wasn't so bad, but maybe I just paid less attention. So I no longer do that, which I'm sure my family is happy about. What they're not happy about, because of what I still do, is play Christmas records on Christmas. I've got a nice record player. I've got hooked up to my sound system. We'll put on a fake fireplace, maybe one of the ones I've done. I've done 2 Minecraft ones over the last 2 years. Look for my 3rd one coming soon. I still have to design and build it, but look for it coming soon. Throw that up, it'll open our presents. We'll have our Christmas food, which will be another one of these vlogs. I've already written up the outline for it. As you can imagine, if you watch my Thanksgiving menu one, it's a little weird. Enjoy. And yeah, I won't play through all the records anymore, but I'll play through 1 or 2 of them just to kind of get my fill of my Christmas music on Christmas. That's what I like. And, because I'm an adult and one half of the parents in this house, I have a fair amount of say. I get vetoed, and that's fine. And oftentimes I purposely don't want to torture my kids or my wife, but sometimes, you got to. That's what family is. That's what tradition is. Doing stupid things because you've always done stupid things. Right, kitty. So, a couple notes on Christmas songs specifically. I already brought up Little Drummer Boy. The story is that's actually about nuclear war. Probably. I haven't done a lot of research on it since I first heard it, but I've heard it several times. Could be the same source. It's hard to say. It makes a certain amount of sense, especially with the timing. It's a newer one. Hi, kitty. The next one is Baby It's Cold Outside. Boy, everyone likes to talk about this, right? Last 3 or 4 years. What annoys me is that I've been saying forever that it's a little rapey. It really is. Is it? Is it a bad song? I mean, it's a very good song, especially that it's catchy. But is the subject matter positive or negative? On the one hand, yeah, it sounds very bad. On the other hand, and a lot of people have said this, and you can call them apologists if you want. I have. The situation and the way it's sung does not make it, except for the Dean Martin version. Don't get me wrong, that one is an absolute filthy piece of garbage. It sounds good, but don't listen to it. There's no consent involved. In general, it is a game being played by 2 adults. And so, yes, you can still enjoy this song. Unless you can't, because all you can hear is how bad it is as far as the subject matter. So it is up to you. I think it's questionable. I don't think it's bad necessarily, but if you think so, absolutely avoid it. I mean, that comes to like some of these equivocations that people need to be better about. Not so much black and white. There is some gray area. And it's okay if we don't see eye to eye on a Christmas song, but not people's rights. This is me not being political. But yeah, it's even if you do love that song, you grew up with that song, you've got to look at it from a different point of view and see the fact that just based on the words and even how some of it's sung, D. Martin, I'm looking at your dead ass, there are problems with it. So keep that in mind as you're, yelling at your family on Facebook for no reason. They got better reasons. There's always reasons to yell at your family on Facebook. Or friends. Or co-workers if you're that insane. So I didn't mean to turn this into another rant. I mean, I did jot those down on my notes, but still. Oh man, I also forgot to look up a drink cheers thing. As always, go back, watch the first few days of this. Keep sticking around. Watch the rest of these. What's the other thing I'm looking for? Oh yeah, check out my other channels. Check out my Twitter, which I think I've included a link to. Buy some merch for my Redbubble. I don't have much up there that anyone wants, but there's some cool stuff, and more stuff is coming. I just work slow on things. See my previous video on the pandemic crafting. That's pretty much how I always do things all year round. So, at any rate, thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Cheers!